Welcome here as we get ready for knockout qualifying for chase race number 5 of the season here in the NNSCRA Hersheys Cup Series. Getting ready to go road course racing here today at one of my favorite road courses in Lakeville, Connecticut. This is Lime Rock International Raceway Park. As we're getting ready here for, well, it was going to be 5 minutes. We're already down to about 4 minutes and 20 seconds left in knockout queue. 20 drivers trying to get into the available 7 spots in the starting lineup. Right here, we're looking at the corner just before the bus stop. There is a bus stop here that the drivers will have to maneuver. So, as we saw at Watkins Glen, drivers had difficulty with the bus stop. We'll see if they have trouble with the bus stop here. And the first car off, you can see, just going underneath our camera there, is Matt McIntyre. Next one out looks like it's Kyle Matthews in the 09. So let's jump to the 8 car of Matt McIntyre. Seems like the last couple of weeks, Matt McIntyre and that 8 team have been one of the first ones off pit road, making as much use of the allotted time as possible. As Matt McIntyre outside the top 35, still trying to find his first win of the season. A couple of the drivers just coming off pit road. Now as we're following the 8 of McIntyre, you'll notice right here, here's the right-hander, and then there's a little bit of an uphill right there into the chicane or the bus stop. Now I've driven this track before in online racing. Quite honestly, this is not a very difficult track to maneuver. The toughest part of this track is when you've got traffic ahead of you and you're coming down here into this first corner. Right here, this is a heavy braking zone. A lot of drivers tend to overrun it, and you can see there's tire barriers out there, not a safer barrier wall. And a lot of drivers find themselves caught in those tires and find their day ending early. Kyle Matthews right now is the fastest car on track. Ran a 53.3 to Matt McIntyre's 53.4. At this point in time, those are the only 2 drivers to have turned a full-time lap. Joshua Michaels just ran one, 53.2. Now he's top of the leaderboard. Joseph Strigley also just ran his first time lap, 53.7. Brandon Gonzalez, 53.3. And Michael Norman, top of the board, a 52.8. That's a fast lap time right there for the 3 car. Kyle Matthews working on Sean Galligan as Cody Lamas goes to the top of the leaderboard with a 52.6, it looked like. Zachary Fitzwater, John Citadino just jumped up into the top 4. And right now, Cody Lamas, that is a really fast lap for the 20 car. That may all but lock him a spot up in this race. Same for Michael Norman with a 52.8. They're the only drivers to hit the 52s at this point. And now 52.9 put on the clock for Joshua Michaels. If you're running in the low 53s, there's going to be a lot of jostling for position right now. The only driver that really I would think would be locked in at this point could be Cody Lamas. Now Johnny Gardner, 52.583. Fastest lap for that car. That's another fast lap right there. Solid lap for the Mobil 1 Ford out of Young Motorsports. Seth Cole, 52.618. John Citadino also hitting the 52s. 52.7, same for Zachary Fitzwater. And Grayson Acavito just jumped up to second. 52.584. That was only 1/1000th slower than the fastest lap laid down by Johnny Gardner. Half a minute left to go. 30 seconds. Make it now 20 seconds in this session. Let's see if Gardner beat his lap time. Nope, he was about maybe a tenth slower. 52.6. Right now, it stands to be Gardner, Acavito, Seth Cole, Cody Lamas, Zachary Fitzwater, Sam McMillan, and John Citadino getting the final transfer spot. We're looking just ahead of Johnny Gardner at that 3 car of Michael Norman. Now, he is on his final timed lap, I do believe. He's got about 45 seconds to get back around before his final lap time is counted. Now, what he's trying to do, he's trying to find about 3 100ths more. Oh, maybe a little bit more than that. Jace Nelson just beat the lap time, and someone else just jumped up into the top 7. I think that was Joshua Michaels. Sam McMillan just jumped up to 4th. And Michael Norman's coming to pit road. He may have had a shot of getting into the top 7. We'll never know now. As Acevedo is going to be the fastest in qualifying. Flickinger just jumped up to 2nd. That just eliminated Cody Lamas. Nothing there for Kyle Matthews, Sean Galligan. There's Citadino right now. He'd be on the outside looking in. There's Zachary Fitzwater. Looks like he'll race his way in. New look there for that 76 car. The John Deere Ford. Right now he's 6th place, and I think that's going to end it. And the fastest car on track to win knockout qualifying will be the 43 of Grayson Acevedo. Zach Flickinger, Johnny Gardner, Seth Cole, Sam McMillan, Zachary Fitzwater, and Joshua Michaels will displace fellow DASCAR driver John Citadino for the final transfer spot into the main event.
To your car.
Citadino, Cody Lamas, who was up at the top of the leaderboard at one point, will not make the race. Stephen Paul with the 3rd, Jace Nelson, Chris Dowd, Michael Norman, Kyle Matthews, Sean Galligan, Brandon Gonzalez, Austin Gipe, Joseph Strigley, Dallas McIntosh, and Matt McIntyre will all fail to make the main event. So we have our 7 drivers. It's time to go racing here today at Lime Rock in Chase Race number 5. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome here as we get ready for Chase Race number 5, the midway point of the chase for the championship here in the NNSCRA Hersheys Cup Series. Getting ready here today to go road course racing at one of my favorite road courses, Lime Rock Raceway Park. Now, today's race, if you didn't tune into the knockout qualifying session, will be caution-free. Mind you, I didn't say incident-free, I merely said caution-free, because this is going to be very similar to what we've had at other road courses in the past, where we ended up not having caution flags waved for incidents that occurred on track. So these 20 laps are probably going to fly by pretty quickly. And with that being said, being a road course, these drivers that are starting near the rear of the field, especially the chase drivers, they're not going to have a whole heck of a lot of time to work their way through the field and gain the most points out of today's race, let alone try and win this race. So they may have to rely on pit strategy, because more than likely pit stops will come into play before the outcome of this race. We got a couple of chasers lining up on the front row. Anthony McCrory in the Audi A5 will line up on the pole position. McCrory looking for his 2nd win of the season, and his 2nd win, and I believe it would be 4 weeks. Comes into this race 3rd in the point standings, only 9 points out of the top position in the standings. Alongside of him is Noah Kars. Now Noah Kars comes into this race 9th in the point standings, a total of 34 points back. So the question of which one of these drivers wants that victory more, it's going to be very interesting to watch these two battle. Both of them looking for their 2nd wins of the season. Both of their wins, ironically enough, came this season at short tracks. McCrory at Taylor Swift Superdome, Noah Kars at Martinsville. Take a look at the rest of the top 10 as you've got Zach Flickinger, Daniel Voiles, a couple of drivers looking for their first wins of the season. Same for row 3, Dylan Young lining up alongside of Jessica Shelton. Our next chase driver, our 3rd highest starting chaser, is Rocco Twyman. He'll roll off from 8th place today. Comes into this race 10th in the point standings, 45 points back. Really needs a good run to get his Toyota back in championship contention. Lines up alongside of Seth Cole, and then another championship contender. And Kean Eddington will complete the top 10 today. Eddington comes into this race 7th in the point standings, 27 points back. Another chaser that really needs a good run to get back mathematically in contention for the championship midway through this chase. He'll line up alongside of Mason Wood. There is Tim Walsh, who before last week was the points leader heading into Armory Digital Super Speedway. Left Armory Digital, though, 5th in the point standings, 23 points back. Looking to get back on track here is the 5-Hour Energy Chevrolet. As you work further back here, look for our next chaser, and You got to go quite a ways back before you find that 27 right there of Joshua Circuli. He comes into this race second in the point standings, only 7 points back from Mason Powers. Benjamin Miles going to line up there. He is 8th in the point standings, 30 points back. And then there is Powers in the 44, comes in as the points leader after his 3rd win of the season last week at Armory. And he's starting quite a ways mired back there. So he's also starting behind Joshua Circuli and Anthony McCrory. So that puts him kind of behind the 8 ball of leaving Lime Rock as the points leader, even at the drop of the green flag. There's Jake Baskinger. It's been a real dismal start to the chase for him. He is dead last of the 12 championship drivers right now, 60 points out of the top position. There still is a chance with a couple of trips to victory lane he could get back into contention, but something has to happen, and something has to happen quick here today at Lime Rock. He can't wait another week on bad luck. Joshua Lee lines up there. He is 4th in the point standings. He's also mathematically eligible to strike for the points lead today. He's only 12 points back in the standings. As you work further back, the furthest starting back chasers are going to be Jeremy Jones in the 18, who comes into this race 6th in the point standings, 26 points back, and starting dead last, Blaine Keys. Now, we talked about how he had a decent run at Indianapolis. He had a semi-decent run last week at Armory Digital. He's 50 points back in the standings and 11th in the points. But with where he's starting here today, this may not pan out to be too good for him. And the last thing he wants is a dead last qualifying spot to be eliminating him mathematically from competing from this season's chase for the championship. And Johnny Gardner, who was really fast in Knockout Q, will be making up the final row with him. So, without further ado, though, we're getting ready to go green. So let's go down and get the command to fire him up here at Lime Rock.
Drivers, start your engines!
There is the command to fire him up, and we're getting ready to go here at Lime Rock Raceway Park. Anthony McCrory, very well-known road course ace. Not really much of a surprise to see him starting on the front row here. Trying to remember back, I believe our last 3 road course stops, the winners of those races was Joshua Circuli at Infineon. I almost just said who won. Oh, Holden Gluba won Watkins Glen. And Blaine Keys won Yas Marina Circuit. And then also Trent Dunham winning at Montreal. I believe those are the only road course stops we've made this season. So we've had 4 different race winners at our 4 different road course stops. Will we see a 5th one here today? Quite possibly. The highest starter of one of those drivers I just mentioned that went to victory lane was Watkins Glen's winner, Holden Gluba, who I believe is rolling off from the 14th position. So we'll see between Anthony McCrory and Noah Cars just how hard they're going to battle for that lead. The most treacherous portion of this racetrack really is the first turn. It's a right-hander, almost kind of a 180-degree right-hander. And the reason it's so treacherous is if drivers run too wide or they get bumped off the racetrack, the thing that awaits them on the outside of that turn are not safer barrier walls, but tire barriers. And the tire barriers, they don't take and caress your car and, allow it to bump off with minimal damage. No, they literally eat your car up. They rip the car apart. And a trip into the tire barriers could be the end of your day early. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Also, with it being green flag from start to finish, we will probably be having to break away during live action to take a look at replays of incidents that happen, since we're not going to have the benefit of being able to do that under caution laps. Without further ado, though, 20 laps of racing await us here at Lime Rock. Front row waits on the flagman. Flagman's ready, has the flag in his hand. It's in the air. We're underway here at Lime Rock Raceway Park in chase race number 5. Anthony McCrory got himself a good start there. Noah Cars tried to hang with him, but he's about half a car length back. Now battles to the inside. They're side by side for the race lead. And McCrory will use this right-hander to clear Noah Cars, and he will go to the lead. Noah Cars, however, does a good job of keeping himself in second, not allowing Daniel Voiles to get in his inside, take the runner-up spot from him. Now into the bus stop. Cars, for the most part, from about first back through seventh, getting into single file formation. They're double wide further back here. Rocco Twyman getting single file as Kean Eddington, Mason Wood battle for position. There's Levi McIntyre trying to get by Tim Walsh. Tristan Folks, Carson Scott in the mix there as well. That's just around the 10th position. There's a car on pit road that appeared to be a chase car in the 27 of Joshua Circuli, who came into this race second in the point standings. Looks like he had to go to pit road. Apparently an incident happening already on track in the early stages. Blaine Keys in the 48 collected as well. That's two chasers I saw. And the points leader got some damage out of that. Right and left side damage, plus a buckle on the hood on Mason Powers. Ryan Acosta also damaged. So 3 chase drivers involved here in an incident on the first lap of this race. First, second, and 11th in the points. And the one driver that really is going to play into the hands of at this point in time is right there in the middle of your screen, the 61 of Anthony McCrory, because he came in third in the points, only 9 points out, and already his 2 competitors are running at the tail end of the field and are sitting idle on pit road. Well, gonna have a battle for the 4th position. Zach Flickinger slipped up in that corner. Dylan Young right there to pounce and take the opportunity to try and move into the top 4. Jessica Shelton there as well in case the door opens, and she'll fill in that hole. And now she battles side by side for the 5th spot. So due to a mistake in the turn, just shows you how slick this road course is. Flickinger falls from 4th all the way back to 6th. He may not even hang on to that. Here comes Rocco Twyman for that position. Twyman now going to swing to the outside line, and whoa, Flickinger there tight off this corner. Oh, there was some door banging. Shelton gets loose, also slams into the 52. What a save by Shelton. She nearly went off track. That was close quarter racing right there. And Dylan Young's not done. He got by Flickinger for 4th. Now he goes to work on the 26 of Daniel Voiles for the 3rd position. He will clear Voiles heading through the bus stop. Now Dylan Young's got to go to work on trying to run down the top 2. Oh, there are 3 wide further back there with Tim Walsh and company. Look at this. This is a hornet's nest back here, and this is from just around 13th on back. Tim Walsh now clearing all that havoc. Tristan Folks just ahead of it there with Kean Eddington, Holden Gluba, James Richardson, Mason Wood, Leon Alvarez is back there, Sam McMillan. This is actually just outside the top 10 from 11th on back. Carson Scott, Austin LaPlante, Dylan Poteet, Joshua Lee in that mix as well. Oh boy. This is nothing short of a hornet's nest. Luba now will clear for the 11th position. Here comes Kean Eddington for 12th. Let's look further up the front, see if we got any battles going on here. Dylan Young. That's got to be maybe one of the fastest cars on track. He reeled in Flickinger, he reeled in Voiles, and here he comes with a big run down into turn 1. Trying to get by Noah Cars for the 2nd position. That Blue Deuce is fast, and we're going to battle as well. Behind them, Flickinger moving by Daniel Voiles for the 4th position. Rocco Twyman looking to see which line opens up there. Still side by side between the U.S. Army Chevrolet and the UEO Mercedes-Benz. Rocco Twyman patiently waiting. And now Flickinger will clear for the position, and Rocco Twyman will slide on by as well. Move the FedEx Toyota up to the 5th spot. Daniel Bouchard running back right now in the 40th position. Mason Powers right now 39th, but no chance really at the moment of the leaders encountering lap traffic. 7 laps into this race, make that 6 laps, now on to lap 7. As Anthony McCurry leads the way. We have 2 drivers out of the race, both of them chasers at this point in time. Joshua Circuli and Blaine Keys. Things have, for the most part, settled down just a bit here up at the front. So we're going to step aside, take a quick moment to look at a replay of what involved those chasers in our first incident of the day. Then we'll come right back, hopefully in time, for pit stops. We got to see if we can find a good enough camera angle. Watch on the left or the right side of your screen. Leon Alvarez going to get loose into that corner. He gets into Zach Flickinger, sends Zachary Fitzwater. Oh, and then there's the contact right there between Joshua Circuli and Mason Powers. Oh, and they both hop up onto the hill. Baskinger also gets turned by JT Bryant. And the 27 actually flipped over on the hill. The car caught the grass. And then there's where Blaine Keys gets involved. He gets turned into the outside wall by William Brock, and his car goes flipping and tumbling. And everybody comes to a stop as Keys' car goes up and over. That was a scary, scary ride right there for both the 27 and the 48. You don't see flips at a road course very often. We had 2 of them in the course of about maybe 100 feet of each other. So that's the only incident really noteworthy to look at. Also very important, as we were gone, Noah Cars was passed for the 2nd position. Guess who? Yep, you guessed it. Dylan Young moves to the runner-up spot. Flickinger moved to 3rd. Rocco Twyman into 4th. Now Noah Cars finds himself all the way back in the 5th position. Let's look at the fastest cars on track. If the 2 car is not top of the leaderboard, I'm going to be shocked. Wow, Zach Flickinger was actually the fastest car on track. 52.303, but Dylan Young not too far behind. 52.373. Rocco Twyman, Ryan Acosta, and Ryan Madden are the top 5 fastest cars on track, followed by Holden Gluba, Tim Walsh, Levi McIntyre, Mason Wood, and William Brock. How about Levi McIntyre? We haven't really talked much about the 99, and he's worked his way up here into the top 10, right now running in the 8th position, running very solidly in that Steak and Shake Ford. A great run for him. Just ahead of him, Seth Cole there in the 52, a go or go homer. Nice run for him. Picked up a little bit of left side damage along the way, you can see there. He's trying to catch Daniel Voiles. Got a nice run down the front straightaway there. That's a battle for the 6th spot. Jessica Shelton ended up making a tremendous save in this corner a few laps ago. By all rights and purposes, should have been in the tire barrier, but was able to hang on to the thing. Still running solidly in 9th. And Tim Walsh, we talked about how he lost the points lead last week at Armory Digital. Well, he's trying to make amends for it today. Another solid outing for that Chevrolet right now in the 10th position. And look who's behind him. 55 of Holden Gluba. Now remember, as I said, there were 4 different road course winners this season. Blaine Keys and Joshua Circuli were 2 of them. They're out of the race. Trent Dunham's not really anywhere to be seen at the front right now, our winner from Montreal, but Holden Gluba, our winner from Watkins Glen, trying to pick up his 2nd road course win of the season. Right now, he's running in the 11th position, trying to reel in Tim Walsh for a spot in the top 10. And we may have a battle for the lead on our hands momentarily. Dylan Young has caught Anthony McCrory. Trying to get around him. This could get very, very interesting. If these 2 continue to battle like this, Zach Flickinger and Rocco Twyman could reel in the top 2 and make it a 4-man fight for the lead. Anthony McCurry's been so good out in front. And he may end up not being out in front for much longer. Dylan Young tried to drive it in a little bit harder in that corner. That may have lost him a tiny bit of momentum. And now Dylan Young has to regroup, and now he has to look in his rearview mirror too, because Zach Flickinger got through that corner very nicely. He may get that big run down the front straightaway, and we may have a battle for 2nd, which is exactly what Anthony McCurry would love to see, because that 2 car is strong. And if that 2 car finds a way to the inside, there's no way I don't think Anthony McCurry is going to be able to hold him at bay. Now it's nose to tail, front four, McCrory, Young, Flickinger, Twyman. And here comes Flickinger for second. Can't make the move this time. Dylan Young got a big run on the high side off that corner. And now Twyman's going to look for that position. Third place off of Flickinger. 2 of the top 4, 3 of the top 5 have gone to victory lane. They're all chasers. Dylan Young, however, and Zach Flickinger have not found victory lane this season. Dylan Young's teammate, JT Bryant, has been to victory lane twice this season. Most recently, the first chase race at Chicagoland. But Dylan Young wants to get to victory lane here. Ooh, I'm not sure, he might not have done a little bit of a bump and run right there on Anthony McCrory. There might have been some contact between those two. Dylan Young's saying, hey, I'm here, I'd like by. Now for Anthony McCrory, he not only wants his second win of the season, he wants to take the points lead over heading into next week. Because next week's a bit of a wild card race, and St. Joltis next on the schedule. Dylan Young, though, he's got nothing to lose. He's not battling for a championship. He just wants to finish out the season strong, and for him, a trip to victory lane is on that checklist. Keep in mind, too, when we were back at Watkins Glen, Dylan Young was actually really strong at that racetrack before he and his teammate JT Bryant got together. I'm trying to remember how well he ran at Yas Marina Circuit, and I can't seem to be able to place it. Oh, this is tight! Wow! He couldn't fit a sheet of paper between the 61 and the 2 car. And the 01 of Flickinger is right there as well. Rocco Twyman right in that mix. This is going to get really interesting with 5 to go at the stripe next time by. Dylan Young lost some ground to McCrory that time, and now has Flickinger all over his back bumper. Flickinger going to give him a little bit of breathing room, at least at this point in time. And things settle itself out for the moment. And as these 4 battle, Noah Cars, Daniel Voiles, who knows, they could maybe catch up and be a factor in this. Levi McIntyre moved by Seth Cole, moved the 99 up to 7th. Seth Cole back into 8th. Tim Walsh got around Jessica Shelton for 9th. Gluba now to 10th. And Shelton actually lost another spot to Mason Wood, so she's dropped all the way back to the, I believe, 12th position. Got to move back up here to the front because this is where the good stuff's going on. McCrory with the lead. Dylan Young. Seems like every time Dylan Young tries to make a charge and loses momentum, then he's got Flickinger right on his back door, trying to take the second position. Oh, and that time, Flickinger almost got there. Flickinger almost got alongside in the bus stop. That would have been a perfect place to make the move for second. And now Flickinger loses his momentum. Wow, Rocco Twyman lost a lot of momentum there. He lost a lot of ground to Flickinger, and now that's going to bring Noah Cars to his back bumper. For the 4th position, here comes Dylan Young! Getting the run down the front straightaway. He couldn't get to the inside, though. He peeked out of line, got the clean air. He was right within distance, but he could not get to that right rear quarter panel of the Audi A5. Oh, he is there, though. He wants that spot, and McCrory's not letting him have it. Again, Dylan Young left to regroup and try again. Flickinger still right there as well. They come down between these 3 drivers. It all comes down to if Dylan Young can get alongside Anthony McCrory. If he can't, if Anthony McCrory can keep his bumper just ahead of that SKF Ford, there's nothing Dylan Young can do. Dylan Young going to try and get the run down the straightaway again, but he's not really within striking distance this time. Could get a big run into this corner, though. Here he comes. Is he going to make any move here in these corners? He's got Flickinger right behind him. Dylan Young's got to go where Anthony McCrory isn't. Unfortunately for Dylan Young right now, McCrory is taking away all of the lines Dylan Young could use to try and get a run. And not only is Anthony McCrory fighting against Dylan Young, but time as well is fighting against that Blue Deuce. Next time by, 2 more circuits around. Let's see if through this corner Dylan Young can close up the gap. The gap is closed up. A lot better than it was the last lap. Let's see if he can get the run down the front straightaway again. He's got breathing room between himself and Flickinger. Rocco Twyman has now fallen back into the clutches of Noah Kars for the 4th position. Dylan Young trying to run a little bit higher through that turn to get the run off the corner. Now to the back bumper of McCrory again. Flickinger still very much in the picture right there, and he moves Dylan Young out of the way. The battle is on for 2nd. Flickinger trying to go to the runner-up spot. Now he wants to challenge McCrory possibly for the win. And Dylan Young can do nothing but watch the U.S. Army Chevrolet move on by him. And now, for the first time today, McCrory's going to look back in his rearview mirror and see a black U.S. Army Chevrolet trying to run him down for the win. One more time around, McCrory leads. Flickinger here into 2nd. Big run down the front straightaway. Can Flickinger do anything with the 61? Dylan Young, that may have used up everything he had. He's now going to lose the 3rd position to Rocco Twyman. And Flickinger on the back door, knocking hard. Trying to take this win from McCrory. He's moving him up out of the way. He got into him, moved him up. He's trying to get to the inside. He's there. Flickinger. He rode around in 3rd. Moved Dylan Young out of the way for 2nd. Moves McCrory out of the way for the lead. Zach Flickinger to the top position on the final lap. Same place that he moved Dylan Young out of the way. He moves McCrory out of the way. Zach Flickinger in 2 laps goes from 3rd to the lead, and he'll pick up his first win of the season. He takes the checkered flag at Lime Rock. Oh my goodness, he rode around for the last 10 laps in the 3rd position. With 2 to go, he moved Dylan Young out of the way. Moved to 2nd, right here. This portion of the track, right there, that was the game-changing turn for Flickinger. It's where he moved Dylan Young out of the way for 2nd. It's where he moved Anthony McCrory out of the way for the victory. And Zach Flickinger, a go-or-go-homer, had to race his way in on knockout qualifying. Will go to victory lane for the first time in his Hersheys Cup Series career here at the windy Lime Rock. Wow. That was amazing. That was amazing. Road course racing at its finest. Flickinger with the win. McCrory dominated this race. It all came down to one driver on his back bumper, and Flickinger was the guy. McCrory will have to settle for 2nd. Rocco Twyman in 3rd, and Noah Kars in 4th. 3 chasers finished in the top 4 here today. Daniel Voiles, another solid outing for that Mitsubishi Lancer, Mercedes-Benz rather, as he will finish in 5th. Levi McIntyre there in 6th. Tim Walsh, solid outing for him after he lost the points lead last week. He'll get 7th. Holden Gluba in 8th. Mason Wood 9th, and Seth Cole hangs on for the 10th position. Take a look at Dylan Young. Was up in 2nd, and in a matter of 2 laps, he drifted all the way back to the 15th position. Actually, he's got damage on that 2 car. I'm not so sure. There may not have been a wreck. So we look and see where the rest of our chasers finished this race. Kean Eddington was 17th. Benjamin Miles 18th. Jake Baskinger, we saw get involved in that wreck on the first lap. He finishes 22nd. Got to move a lot further down before you find our next chaser in Joshua Lee. 29th place for him. Jeremy Jones never really got out of the cellar. 34th today for him. Mason Powers came into the points leader, 38th. He will not be the points leader after today's race. Pretty sure it will be Anthony McCrory. Joshua Circuli and Blaine Keys were the only 2 drivers to retire from the race, but more importantly, those 2 were chase drivers. So, Zach Flickinger becomes the, I want to say, 6th different go-or-go-home driver outside the top 35 in points that goes to victory lane here this season. Just shows you can't count out these drivers just because they miss a race or 2. So Zach Flickinger with the victory. Congratulations to him. Anthony McCurry, I believe, will take over the chase point standings heading into next week, which is sure to be another wild race. We're heading to a track that can hold them 6, 7, even 8 wide. Zen Joltis Mega Super Speedway. Hope you guys will tune in for that. We have now completed the first half of our chase for the championship. It'll be interesting to see what the points look like heading into the second half of this chase for the championship. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's race from Lime Rock, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the group today. I'll show you once again down through 42nd your official finish results from today's race. And here come your overall point standings and your chase points heading into next week as you've been watching a production of NNSCRA, offline racing at its best.